This is the NFC North predictions for the upcoming season. Season officially starts on Thursday with the Chiefs and the Texans. So let's go ahead and get into the NFC North now. The Bears. The Chicago Bears. Additions in free agency. Nick Foles. Apparently doesn't really matter because Mitch Trubisky is the starting quarterback according to the Bears. Bad decision. If you ask me, then Ted Ginn Jr. He's old now. I don't know if he's as dynamic as he used to be now that he's left the Saints. Jimmy Graham, once again, old veteran. He's not as dynamic as he used to be. Jermaine Ifedi from, I believe, the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, offensive tackle. I think he was like a 66 overall in Madden. Robert Quinn, a pass rusher from the Los Angeles Rams. Not a bad pickup there to add to that defensive line. In the draft, Cole Kmet, another tight end from Notre Dame, and Jalen Johnson. I don't know who he is. Questions to be answered. Trubisky or Foles? They've already answered that. The Bears have already answered that. Naming Mitch Trubisky as the starting quarterback. How long will he be the starting quarterback? I don't know. I don't think that long. Honestly, I will make a prediction probably in these weeks. Here in just a second. Offensively, weapons. Well, Nick Foles. Mitch Trubisky probably shouldn't be there. Tariq Cohen. He's still pretty solid. David Montgomery, really good running back who came on really strong in the past 2 years. Allen Robinson, apparently he's supposed to be good. I haven't seen anything from him, but that's mainly because, Mitch Trubisky is at quarterback. Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. And I believe they had one more tight end. I don't remember, but that's two tight ends right there. Defensively, Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, one of the best pass rushers in the game. Eddie Goldman, another solid defensive tackle. Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith out of Georgia. Danny Trevathan, very solid middle linebacker. Kendall Fuller, a very good corner. And Eddie Jackson, one of the better safeties in the league. Not very fast, but he hits hard. On the offensive line, it's decent. Middle of the pack, if you ask me. Left tackle, Charles Leno. A good center and a good right tackle. So let's go ahead and get into their predictions for the season. Last year they were 8-8, middle of the pack with Mitch Trubisky in his third year, I believe. Number 10 overall pick, by the way. So let's go ahead and get into it. Week 1, they will go into Detroit. I believe that is a win, in my opinion. Week 2, hosting the New York Giants. Danny Dimes, offensive line is not quite there. That's a win, in my opinion. And then they go into Atlanta. When I predicted the Atlanta Falcons season, I said they would lose that game. So then next week they'll host Phillip Rivers' Colts. That will be a loss, in my opinion. They host the Bucks on a Thursday night. Reason for picking them to win this game: pass rush gets to Brady, I think, on a Thursday night, even with no fans. Brady's early on in his system, so I think that's a big chance to lose that game, and I think the Bears' pass rush gets to him. And I believe it'll be Mitch Trubisky. I think originally I was assuming Foles would be the starting quarterback. Even with Trubisky, I think they still win that game. That's a bold prediction on this list for sure. Panthers, Rams, and Saints. I've already predicted for these teams, so that was 3 losses for the Bears. They go into Tennessee, another loss in my opinion. Host the Vikings, another loss in my opinion. And that means going through the bye week, this is when Foles steps in. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Foles time. It's Foles time. He is officially in. Week 11. Week 11, they named the starting quarterback. And that means week 12, he starts on a Sunday night in Green Bay. Not a great time to start at all, that's for sure. It's a loss, in my opinion. Host the Lions. The win. Host the Texans. That's a chance at a very good win. I think that is a loss in my opinion. Go to Minnesota in a game that they will win. I think Minnesota loses one down the stretch. Beat the Packers. No, beat the Jaguars, led by Minshew. And then host the Packers to end the season in a game that they will coin flip. That's what I'm going to say. Who knows? Let's see what Siri has to say. Siri, flip a coin.
It's tails.
Siri says tails, which means that the Bears will lose that game. So the Bears go 2, 3, 4, 6, and 10 on the season, in my opinion. That will obviously not be enough to make the playoffs. So that will put them out of playoff contention. And, well, I guess I would blow it up, honestly. See if you can keep Khalil Mack, go for the draft, try and get one of the top quarterbacks, Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence, that is coming out of college. Or the guy from North Dakota State. I heard he's really good. Next team in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. In free agency, Geronimo Allison from Green Bay. Not really going to matter. Jamie Collins from New England. Deron Harmon. Jaron Curse. Reggie Ragland. Desmond Trufant from Atlanta. Vaitai. And Danny Shelton, also from New England. So a lot of action there in free agency. In the draft, Jeff Okudah, very solid cornerback from Ohio State. DeAndre Swift from Georgia. And an offensive guard and an outside linebacker. So big questions for the Lions to answer possibly this season. Question number 1 is, why not draft Tua? Especially if you want to have a chance to revive this franchise. Do you actually trust Matthew Stafford? Even if you drafted Tua, sat him for a year, brought him in the next year. I don't know. Maybe they'll wait for this year and get one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. Maybe they'll get lucky. We'll see. And the second question is a little bit of a meme question, but how much would you have to pay? How much would you have to be paid to watch a Lions game this season just to watch the Lions, though? Not that they're playing a good team. To watch specifically to see the Lions. How much are you going to have to be paid this season to watch that game? $100, $500, $1,000. I don't know. I would say you're going to have to pay me $250 for me to watch a Lions game and specifically scout the Lions and watch the Lions. I'd say $250. So that'll be my answer to that question. $250 is what I think, if you ask me. I don't know what it would be for you. Drop in the comments how much would you have to be paid to watch a single Lions game this season just for the Lions. Offensively, weapons. Matthew Stafford. He's still decent, I think, but I don't know if he's not the guy that you're going to make the playoffs with unless something crazy happens, especially in that division with the Bears and the Vikings and the Packers all being better teams than this Lions team. DeAndre Swift out of Georgia, Kerryon Johnson, Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, and TJ Hawkinson. Yes, those are names put under weapons, but that does not mean they're weapons compared to other weapons in the league. Defensively, Danny Shelton, Trey Flowers, Desmond Trufant, Jeff Okudah, and Deron Harmon. So not bad on the corners. Then we go to the offensive line. We have 77 linebacker, left tackle, 80 overall center, bad on the guards, and then Vaitai at 64. For some reason, I said better than you think. I don't remember what I was saying about that. I'd have to do some research on that. I guess watch out for that. Better than you think. I mean, okay. Last year they were 3-13, not 3-12. And we already have a few games predicted in here. So they will host the Bears on week 1, and which is a loss in my opinion. Go to Green Bay, a loss in my opinion. Early bye week 5 after 4 straight losses, including losses to the Cardinals and the Saints. You go into Jacksonville, chance to win a big game here. Jacksonville also a team that may go 0-16. It will compete for a Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Fields or the guy from North Dakota State. Can you win this game against the Detroit or against the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think so, especially with Jacksonville trading away their best pass rusher and also losing Calais Campbell to free agency. And then you will go into Atlanta, which is a loss in my opinion. You host Phillip Rivers and the Colts. And this is usually the Lions seem to always make a surprise win every once in a while, and I think this is one of them, where they end up beating the Colts. I think this is one of those surprise wins that you just don't expect. They usually make one of them a season. They almost made one last year against the Chiefs, but I believe they won a game against, I don't remember, to be honest. Maybe I'm just lying to myself. But let's make a bold prediction there. They beat the Colts. Go into Minnesota. Loss. Host the Washington football team. A loss. You host Houston. Another loss. You go into Chicago. A loss. You host the Packers. A loss. You go into Tennessee. A loss. And you host the Minnesota Vikings. Another loss. That is not 0-16, but rather 2-14 for the Detroit Lions. Very depressing right there. Go ahead and give them the dark red for you suck. How about that? Next team, the Green Bay Packers. Free agency, Christian Kirksey, a linebacker, Devin Funchess from Carolina, and Rick Wagner, don't remember who he is. In the draft, Jordan Love. Been reports that he has not had a very good training camp. I'm not surprised considering it's his first time in the NFL, and he's got a lot of pressure on them being a first-round pick. A.J. Dillon out of Boston College, and Josiah, not even going to attempt to say that last name. The Cheeseheads, how many years more of Aaron, that being Aaron Rodgers, with the pick of Jordan Love? If you ask me, it's 3. So let's go ahead and answer that right now. We'll put 3. Second is, can they win a big game on the road? Well, without fans, that answer, I think, is yes. They can win a big game on the road. And I have already predicted them to win a big game on the road. You'll see that in just a second, if you haven't already seen it on the screen right now. Offensively, weapons. Aaron Rodgers. The other Aaron Jones, who showed to be a star. Huge pick for me on my fantasy football team last year. Man played like a beast, most rushing touchdowns in the league. A.J. Dillon out of Boston College. Jamal Williams, another running back. So it looks like they're pounding up to run the football with Matt LaFleur instead of throwing it with Aaron Rodgers. I agree with it, to be honest. And then Devontae Adams, one of the best receivers in the league. Devin Funchess, the big pickup from free agency, is opting out, though, of the season. He will not play. So a loss there for Aaron Rodgers, not having another weapon in terms of wide receivers. He's still got Valdez-Scantling, who I think is pretty decent, in my opinion. Not a big catcher, but if you get the ball in his hands, he's got a lot of speed to him. Defensively, Kenny Clark, one of the better defensive tackles in the league. Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, the Smith brothers, not brothers at all, but a very tough two-punch combo from the pass rush perspective. Jair Alexander, who has turned into a superstar at the corner position, and Adrian Amos, a very good safety. On the offensive line, David Bakhtiari, the best left tackle in football, in my opinion. Left guard is not good. Right guard is not good. Good center. Right tackle is okay. They lost Brian Bulaga, was the big thing in free agency that they ended up losing. Record last year, 13-3, and they had a first-round bye. They beat the Seattle Seahawks and choked against the 49ers for the second time that season. So this year, will they win as many games? I think not. You go into Minnesota week 1. That's a coin flip, in my opinion. That is a coin flip, in my opinion. That's a tough one to pick. I was thinking, okay, who's got the better coach? Well, I think Minnesota has the better coach. Minnesota did lose their offensive coordinator, though. And Matt LaFleur in his second year. It's in Minnesota. Minnesota with that talent on both sides of the football. Who knows? I think that's a coin flip, in my opinion. Anyway, hosting the Lions, that's a win. Going into New Orleans on a Sunday night, they wouldn't have won this with fans. They won't win this anyway. Then they go to Atlanta on a Monday night, back-to-back weeks in prime time. A game which they will win. They get an early week 5 bye. Then they go to Tampa Bay in a game which I think they will lose. Finally, when Tom Brady gets his stride and the Bucs start picking up steam, they go to Houston in a big game against Deshaun Watson, the man who just got paid big money as he deserved. Another loss, in my opinion, if you ask me. And then you host the Vikings. A win, in my opinion. Thursday Night Football going into San Francisco. This was the game I was just talking about. The big win on the road in prime time. I think they win this game. Not easily, though. Definitely not. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to pull something out of his buttocks, and they're going to have to somehow win that game, and I think they will. And then they host the Jaguars, easiest win of the year. They go to Indianapolis. Now, this is a game I think they'll lose. If you ask me, I'd probably do a toss-up, but I think Indianapolis is going to be pretty solid this year. So we'll see how that goes. And then they will host the Bears on a Sunday night. That is a win, in my opinion. They host the Eagles again for the second year in a row. This time not in prime time. I have not predicted the Eagles season yet. But looking at that, I think they win this game. Do the Green Bay Packers. Go to Detroit, they win, so that's a lot of wins in a row. You host the Titans, and you go to Chicago in a game in which I think they will win. Is that how I predicted it? Yes, that is how I predicted it. Okay, so the one coin flip game is week 1 against the Vikings. Let's see what Siri has to say. If Siri will work. Siri, flip a coin. She says it is tails this time, which is a loss for the Packers, unfortunately. So that will make them 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, and 5 on the season. It's not bad. That might be enough to win the division. We'll see how we predict the Vikings season. So that's a chance. We'll see in just a second. That being, speaking of the Vikings, let us go to them. The Minnesota Vikings. Fuck the Minnesota Vikings. As a Saints fan, they have made me cry many a times before. So maybe I won't predict them to win that many games. Just to spite them. Anyway, in free agency, I forgot to add another. They got the Yannick Nkogi. I don't know how to say his name. The dude from Jacksonville is another guy that should be up here. Michael Pierce, a good defensive tackle, and Tajay Sharp, a wide receiver. In the draft, Justin Jefferson from LSU, Jeff Gladney, an offensive tackle, and Cameron Dantzler. I forgot where he's from. Questions to be answered this year. Can Kirk Cousins win on Monday Night Football for the first time in his career? I said yes. And I'm going to change that prediction for the Bears. Not thinking about it. I think he loses again on Monday Night Football this year. Yeah. That is a loss. Very sorry, Kirk Cousins. That will give the Bears a 7-9 season. That will. So that the answer to that question is a big fat no. Big fat no to Kirk Cousins for winning on Monday Night Football. He had a good chance. But Nick Foles is starting that week, and the loss, in my opinion. Weapons on offense. Kirk Cousins. Sure, he got the big payday. He should be considered a weapon. Dalvin Cook. Another huge pick on my fantasy team last year. Made two leaps of faith last year in the second and third round, picking Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones. Man, both of those worked out very well. Dalvin Cook was also one of the best running backs in the league last year, and he will have another good year, in my opinion, as long as he stays healthy, of course. They lost Stephon Diggs, so it's just Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson and Tajay Sharp, and then two tight ends, one being a big catcher in the red zone and another being a speed demon in Irv Smith Jr. and Kyle Rudolph. Defensively, Danielle Hunter, big time pass rusher. The dude from Jacksonville, not going to say his name. Unfortunately, Michael Pierce has opted out for the Vikings. This would have been another threat on that defensive line. Anthony Barr, still really solid. Really good in Madden because of his speed. Eric Hendricks. I believe it's either Hendricks or Kendricks. It might be Hendricks. Very good middle linebacker, one of the best in the league. Harrison Smith, one of the best safeties in the league. And Anthony Harris, who proved to be a very good player last year. Offensive line, just a little below mediocre, but there's no major hole on that offensive line. 10-6 last year. How will they do this year? Let us see. The Minnesota Vikings host the Packers on week 1. Oh, boy. Hold on. They host the Packers on week 1. A game which Siri said they will win. Go into Indianapolis on week 2. That is a loss in my opinion. Host the Titans on week 3. I'm going to give them another loss on that and another loss against the Texans. 3 straight weeks against the AFC South, I believe. AFC South. So that's 3 straight weeks. I think they lose all 3 games. To be honest, I think one of them's a coin flip, though. So we'll have Theory pick a number between 1 and 3 to decide those 3 games. 2 of them are going to be losses. 1 is going to be a win. Hell, we'll go 1 through 4. If she picks 4, then that means they'll lose all 3 games. Siri, pick a number between 1 and 4.
It's 2.
Siri says 2, which means they will win the Titans game. Not a bad pick, Siri. I will second that. My name is Isaac. They go into Seattle, a game which I believe I did a coin flip on as well, and I had Seattle losing, so that's a win. And then they will go into Atlanta, or actually no, they host Atlanta, sorry, and they will win that game as well. And then they get a bye. They go into Green Bay, a game in which I think they will lose. They host the Lions, a game in which I think they will lose. I think I remember that correctly. No, that was the Colts. Never mind. I thought I predicted that the Vikings were going to be the one surprise. It was the Colts. My apologies. That is a win. On Monday night, Kirk Cousins, nope. Then they host the Cowboys rather. Uh, Looking at their record, what are they at that point? They are 4-5, 5-5. They are 5-4. My apologies, 5-4 at that point. Hosting the Cowboys, a big game that they would need to win. Let's go ahead and predict these games as all wins, which means, did I pick the Bears winning that game? Do I have the Bears winning either game against the Vikings? I do. They have them winning that game. So that was a loss. Okay. So hosting the Cowboys at this point, I have them predicted at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this would be to go 8-8. Huh. It's a tough schedule for them this year. That is for sure. Host the Cowboys. Let's look at the Cowboys schedule. What do the Cowboys have leading up to that? They get a bye. That's a loss. Vikings go 7-9. Wow, that's crazy to say. But now looking at their schedule and just predicting everything, that's 7-9. How about that? Let me double check that number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, Vikings are 7-9. Just as good as the Chicago Bears. And I don't think that'll be enough to make the playoffs. That'll be a division win for the Packers. And that will mean the Vikings miss the playoffs. With that talent, I guess I don't have a lot of faith in Kirk Cousins. How about that? Which means that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 playoff teams, which means 2 would have to come from this division. Because there are 7 playoff teams this year. They added one more team. So it's either the Cowboys or the Rams that are going to make it at this point as that 7th team. That'll be interesting to see when I predict the NFC East, which will be the next episode. So, running back through it. We predicted the Bears first, 7-9. Vikings, 7-9. The Lions, 2-14, and the Packers, 11-5. Packers win the division and are the only team from the NFC North to make the playoffs. Thank you again for watching this episode. NFC East will be next. I'll see you in that episode. Peace.